Thimappa is another great master. This Thimappa was a regular master. He had his own following. And one day in a big meeting, that man comes to Buddha and says, I have a lot of questions. I want you to answer. He said, I will answer your questions, but one condition. Really, if you really want the answer, be with me in silence for 1 year. For 1 year you be with silence. I promise you, after 1 year, I'm going to answer your questions. In the audience, there was another greatest student of Buddha. His name was Sariputra. And Sariputra, if you have read one of the Buddhist sutras, it is said the Bhagavad Gita, where the Bhagavad Gita ends, the Hridayam Sutra begins. Just like Bhagavad Gita is a discussion between Krishna and Arjuna, the Hridayam Sutra is a discussion between Sariputra and Buddha. Here, in Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna asks questions and Krishna replies. In the Hridayam Sutra, Sariputra is a quest, no questions at all, but the master knows what is the student's question and he answers. Have you heard those beautiful words, Gate, Gate, Paragate, Parasam, Gate, Bodhi, Swaha? It is a very famous Buddhist mantra which comes from the Hridayam Sutra. I brought this because now Thimappa asked Buddha a question and he says, stay with me for 1 year. At that time Sariputra, who was sitting there in the audience, says, Thimappa, this man Buddha is a big cheater. Like you, I also came more than 1 year ago. 1 year I stayed with him. After 1 year, not only my questions, I have dissolved. I have become a nobody. No question only. So after 1 year, he will ask you for the questions. You will have no questions at that time. If you have any questions, you ask now. Buddha had a method of dissolving people. Dissolving what? Dissolving the ego. You know, our greatest problem, that's what he said, the distinction between science and things. Science and this world makes us egoistic. You know, people of accomplishment, degrees, this ego stands for edging God out. And when you take off, the true greatness is when a person is absolutely egoless and there is no ego at all. Now, in the same audience like this, you know, somebody asked Buddha a very difficult question. The question was, can you claim that you have attained? See the paradox. If Buddha says, I have attained to enlightenment, then he is making an egoistic claim. And Buddhahood, enlightenment and ego does not go together. At the same time, a great master like Buddha cannot tell a lie. He has to tell the truth. Without thinking for a moment, Buddha says, I cannot claim because I have attained. He says, I cannot claim because I have attained. Now, this is the greatness of Gautama Buddha, that the ability to transmit and to transmit beyond words. There are hundreds and hundreds of stories. I will conclude with one story. Again, as Prem said, you know, Zen talks about this moment. The real truth is this moment. What is very relevant for you at this moment is Zen. Nothing else is Zen. Everything else is information. Nothing else is very relevant. A great Zen master was dying. And as I said, when the master is dying, you know, they are sometimes at their very best and all the students gather around them to see what this master is going to say. And sometimes pearls of wisdom come in the last moment. One of the students knew that this person liked a particular form of cake in Tokyo. So he goes all the way to go to that bakery to give that particular cake. And then the old man was dying and he gives him that piece of cake. And this man is eating and eating and everybody is looking at him for his last words. And then he utters this word. He says, my God, this cake is delicious, he says. And he dies. You know, at that moment, what was on the tip of his tongue was this cake was so nice. And he is authentic to that moment. And they only say, be authentic, be true to that moment. Now, dear friends, it's my privilege to be here to give you a little insight about this. If you have any questions, Prem has written his understanding on Zen. He has collected a collection of stories. He's put a little bit about Zazen, just watching your breath, watching yourself. And he's also brought small stories about great Zen masters. Congratulations to Prem. Good wishes to all of you. Thank you for